going to take a look at the rosters. We'll just quickly reiterate who is on these teams. And actually, very important note to bring up with that said, of course, for Vote, this is the first time we're going to see Slicks.
Yeah.
The first time we're going to see Slicks playing with this team. Swindlemel, Slicks, Keizu, Skyzo, and Z-Freak over here for now known as Stay Green, but of course formerly known as Vote. But I cannot wait to see Slicks, man.
Yeah, definitely. He's playing more of that initiation role. He's not playing the carry role, and some speculate that that's going to be actually hurting their lineup more than helping it.
Yeah.
And I do know another thing that's coming up is, the issue of ping, because you're playing with 2 Europeans, 2 Americans on US East, and 1 Australian. So you have this big, huge cluster of different pings to work with. So it's those things that we'll have to watch for in this upcoming series. But yeah, for complexity, the roster, of course, B-Kid, Franzi, Chessie, Moon Meander, and Haxer, and all 5 members of that roster are actually here today. So no excuses for ringers or anything like that. Not like it's an excuse. Anyway. But yeah.
Don't go out the dimensions. All right, let's take a look, though. Game number 1 has officially started. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Vote taking on Complexity here. Best out of 3, losers bracket finals. Let's take a look. All right, as you can see, Vote on the Legion side, again, now known as SG, a.k.a. Stay Green. And I actually like that tag a lot better. And obviously, it makes a lot more sense than Gary Johnson 2012 in the end. So it is good to see that they have changed their name. But just for the sake of consistency, for finishing off this event, like I said, for this cycle, we're still going to go ahead and call them Vote. But anyways, they're going to go against Complexity on the Legion side here, Complexity on the Hellborn side. Again, Slicks, you made a great point there when we were talking about Slicks. He is not actually their carry player. Keizu is their carry player,
right?
Even with the addition of Slicks. And there has been a lot of there's been a lot of back and forth discussion about that amongst the community on saying like, well, why would you pick up Slicks and not run him as a carry?
That's what, yeah.
To the respect, I mean, Keizu is a fantastic carry himself, so it is a kind of an odd situation, I will admit.
Well, I mean, I'm not knocking Keizu at all, and I'm not knocking Slicks for not playing carry. But it's like, what if you put Era and Haxerin on the same team? Like, why? It just doesn't make any sense. I don't know. It's just kind of interesting. That's, I think, the biggest thing.
True.
And also, one thing that we haven't really touched on, too, is now Swindlemelons, who's playing this hard support role. Like, has he ever played hard support for a team? Like, is he used to it? Does he know how to roam, where to transition to, polling? I mean, just overall, I mean, I've never seen him play this role, so that's another thing to look out for. Anyway, as far as the picks and bans go, I actually missed the blind bans.
Blind bans, we got Plague Rider Tundra coming out from Vote. So interesting, they're actually with Plague Rider, but then Fade Parasite taken care of by Complexity. But yeah, the Plague Rider ban stands out a little bit.
I mean, Plague Rider, you see the resurgence and then the diminishment of this hero from time to time, and this is definitely one of those times where Plague has been a lot, like, he's had the attention of the community and the players a lot more. So he gets blind banned. But the locks are Ophelia, Tempest, Keeper of the Forest, Demented Shaman actually makes his way through. Magmus, and then finishing off with a Balfagor is who did that?
B-Kid did.
B-Kid, okay.
No, wait.
No,
B-Kid did. B-Kid locked Balfagor.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. So B-Kid locked Balfagor, Tempest, Keeper. Okay.
Interesting. B-Kid. What is B-Kid doing? That's not his style. That's not his. Cheese is not B-Kid's style. What's going on here? No, it's that's a very interesting lock pool because the first thing, of course, that stands out to me, it has to be just a massive push potential there for either team. I mean, hell, you could have something like an Ophelia first pick. You go Balfagor, Demented Shaman, and then you can Tempest pick after that, or Keeper the Force pick. I mean, you're going to get a lot of push. Either side really has potential for that. So. It's going to be interesting to see how both of these teams kind of work around knowing that strategy definitely exists. Now, the banning phase, a couple of interesting notes there. The one, Moraxis, Moon Queen, Glacius, Zephyr, Silhouette, Wild Soul. Again, Moon Queen kind of standing out to me. Banned by B-Kid right there. Granted, Moon Queen has made a resurgence here on the competitive scene lately, of course, starting with DreamHack, and even after it, he's still been seeing quite a bit, or she in this case. So, what do you make of the Moon Queen ban, though?
They just... Team Vote has been running it a lot, as is a lot of teams, and B-Kid feels like it's a very, very strong hero. And when you get to the late game, you see what it does.
Yeah,
and just doesn't want to deal with it. But yeah, there are other powerful options out there. There's Engineer, there's Dark Lady. I mean, there's lots of strong heroes. They actually the first pick goes to Pebbles for Team Vote staying green. And actually, Wretched Hag picked up quite early here for Complexity. But like I said, they do value Wretched Hag because she actually can play out in the late game. And like I said, it's similar to a hero like Bubbles or some kind of initiator where you have to get, where you really want to get, I should say, a blink plus some kind of lockdown item, like Blink plus Hex or Blink plus Hellflower. Well, Wretched Hex saves you the 2150 for that Blink, and already gets you, like, you just go straight for Hellflower. You get it relatively early because it is quite cheap, and it just saves you that extra step. And yeah, he can bounce back quite easily too.
Very, very true. So yeah, it's of course, as you so well put it. I mean, this is a hero that complexity values very, very high when it comes down to the selection. It seems like, and we do see it picked up quite a bit by them and played more in that carry role with Haxorn specifically. So, back over to vote here though on the Legion side again. You mentioned Pebbles, that first pick. You know, I'm definitely eyeing that M4 there out of this lock pool, or not the lock pool, but excuse me, the picking pool, especially with Glacius being banned. So. Maybe that's something Swinnemelons is thinking about, but spending a good amount of time with that said. But here we go. Engineer Tremble are going to be the two picks. And, of course, Tremble, man, this is KZU's go-to hero, seems like, lately. Love to play him some Tremble, and it does have a pretty high success rate, I think it's safe to say. So, Engineer Tremble, the last couple of regular picks coming out here for Swinnemelons.
Yeah, now you're just going to need, well, looks like a Suicide and then a Jungler. The only problem is I'm looking at that lock pool, and I see junglers, and I see that they get to pick up 1, and then, of course, Complexity picks up 2. But the heroes that are probably going to get picked up are Ophelia, Tempest, Keeper. So if Team Vote wants to pick up one of those, obviously, I'm pretty sure that was a really smart idea by B-Kid, locking Tempest and Keeper right after Ophelia, because it's like, you're going to take Ophelia? Fine, I'll take Tempest Keeper.
The Tempest.
Tempest Keeper, and right now with the pool that you have after that, Demented Shaman, Magnus, Balfagor, how can you really suicide a hero? I guess Balfagor kind of can, but that's it. So... And they actually go with a Hammerstorm. I love this lane. I think it's a very strong. I've run it before. Luna, Hammerstorm, most likely going to be mid. And Hammerstorm's just such a beefy hero. They are going to go with Ophelia. I expect Keeper and Tempest.
Yeah, you have to.
I mean, this is the whole strategy behind why B-Kid locked those two heroes right after Ophelia. So they're weighing out their options just a little bit, but that seems just obvious to me. So Wretched Hag in the short lane, Keeper is a Suicide, Tempest in the jungle, and a very, very strong dual lane mid of a Luna Hammerstorm.
It really is going to be interesting to see what Vote does, you know, if that ultimately happens here from Complexity.
I will say that because they do have Ophelia, that opens up the options to man up and actually go tri-lane top.
True.
So, that being said, we could see an Ophelia, Engineer, Pebbles tri-lane, Tremble in the short lane on solo bottom, and then could see DS mid. Or vice versa. You can go Tremble mid, DS short lane. And that would be fine too. So, you know, now that I'm looking at it in a second light, Staying Green doesn't have a bad lineup either. It's quite strong, actually, if they do that tri-lane top.
Yeah. Yeah, B-Kid did obviously in the end go with the Keeper Tempest, spending a little bit of time. And again, nothing wrong with that. Of course, the extra time is there for a reason, so might as well use it. But in the end, going with the Keeper Tempest, overall strong lineup. You especially mentioned that Luna Hammerstorm combination, the laning potential there. And Hammerstorm's really is a hero. We have started to see quite a bit more and more here on the competitive scene. I mean, his carry potential is starting to become more and more well known. It seems like now Magnus is the final pick actually coming out for a vote, and that is a little bit interesting. Because now when you look at it, I mean, they got the Mag Engineer lane, but is that, I mean, who do you send Suicide? Is it Tremble Suicide in this case? I mean, this is something here from, that's the last hero I expected. I mean, maybe DS, maybe Balfagor, but I couldn't say I saw the Magnus coming. What about you, Joe?
Yeah, I can't say I saw it coming either, unless it's a solo Mag. So, I mean, or it could be a solo Pebbles, too. Like a solo Pebbles mid. You could do Mag NG with Ophelia top.
I guess, okay.
But the thing is, as Pebbles mid, you're most likely going to be going up against a dual lane. You're not going to get anything. So I don't know about this, but yeah, interesting. And what's more interesting is Skyzo is playing the support engineer, and now we've gone back and switching roles again. Swinnemelon's playing that initiator and Pebbles. So unless it's a roaming style Pebbles, I don't know. They're kind of doing all sorts of interesting things. But yeah.
Yeah, Swinnemelons has definitely taken over as the hard support for the team for the most part. But as you put it here, obviously in this case, that's not what's happening. I mean, now he is a great Pebbles player, sure, but it is definitely a little bit different. Skyzo will be playing that hard support role this time around, and obviously we'll see how he does in the end. Hammerstorm being played by B-Kid. I love he has the Wrath skin, I believe it's called. It's a pretty badass skin there. But yeah, looking forward to seeing the carry potential coming out of Hammerstorm and seeing what he can bring to the table. Because again, he can definitely hit pretty damn hard, especially once he activates that brute strength and gets some beefy items early on and do plenty of damage. But obviously going to sit in a pause here, hopefully for not too long, to get game number 1 started. So again, this is just a straight up best of 3, nothing more to it there. This being the losers bracket final, of course, between Gary Johnson 2012 and Complexity. But the winner of this series will move on to face Trademark Esports in the grand finals here for the first cycle for the Diamond Division. And that will be taking place right after this, actually, in the later part of today for the doubleheader coming at you. So again, looking forward to a very fun day today. Plenty of awesome heroes in New Earth going to be coming at you, of course, so can't wait to see what happens. But Tremble obviously already putting down his mound initially, and again, it's just a case of where will they end up going. Unfortunately, with a pause like this, no one's really moved too much, so can't even really speculate exactly where people are going to be going just yet. But
yep.
The other grand finals that is happening today, of course, both bronze, U.S. and European, are going to be taking place today. Originally, we were planning on covering the bronze grand finals, I believe the European region, or no, it was the U.S. region, as the first part of today, but popular demand, and again, I can't say I'm too surprised by that. Everyone was like, wait a second, you're going to pass up this battle? We're like, yeah, okay, we got to cast this in the end. There's no way we can pass this up, so it just made too much sense. All right, but it looks like the game has resumed here. And we are going to be moving on with our first game today, Trail. So cannot wait to finally make this happen.
It looks like we are going to see a solo Magnus bottom.
Huh.
And Tremble has been walking up to the top lane. He has a ward and extra regen, so it's going to be a suicide Tremble. The reason for this is they just know without a shadow of a doubt that it's going to be Haxor in that solo short. The only thing I fear about this is that if you do have a transition of a Luna to top, that Tremble will get absolutely destroyed. And that being said, also, Wretched Hag actually does quite well in the short lane against a Tremble if you do level up that haunt. And because you're in the suicide lane, and because that lane can fluctuate, can move around a lot, you're not gonna be under your mounts like 24/7. Like you're not gonna have a set place about where your mounts are gonna be. So there's a couple of different factors in playing the suicide lane for Tremble. But I will say they did pull in some extra regen, and that might be the saving grace for him. But yeah, as far as interesting lanes, yeah, this is kind of. Well, it's very interesting. I mean, Magnus solo bottom. You're going to have that dual lane mid of NG Pebbles that's still going to be mid. And the key factor here is going to be Ophelia. How often can Ophelia gank? How much of a presence is Zephyr going to have in this game?
Now, Wretched Hag has already transitioned to the middle lane, it looks like.
Okay.
So, yeah, they've already adjusted right off the bat. That's going to mean Hammerstorm Aluna will be top. And I got to think Keizu, as great as the Tremble player he is, he's going to get absolutely nothing now here at this top side because of that. So, interesting transition right off the bat for Complexity, but it seems like it is going to be for their favor. I mean, especially with Wretched Hag. Obviously, 1v2 mid, but this is nothing wrong for Wretched Hag. She'll, at the very least, get some levels, maybe get some okay farm. And I don't know. I mean, what do you do now if you're Allegiance side? You can't really transition Engineer to top, can you? I mean, so what do you do here?
Yeah, you can't. You're just going to have to prioritize farm on actually Beacon missing a very easy CS right there. That's kind of interesting. It was like the very first CS all by himself. But anyway, you just sit mid. You just have your Pebbles soak up that farm in mid. And if you can get a kill, actually a great kick stun onto Wretched Hag. It is only level 1 though, so just doing it more for harass purposes until you can get that mana up onto Pebbles, who, by the way, went for shield. Maybe they thought they were going to be battling the dual lane mid. Obviously, they thought they were going to be battling the dual lane mid. And those would be fine items. But right now against Hag, it's not exactly the most optimal. But yeah, like I said, he probably just thought he was going to go against that dual lane mid.
And again, it originally was, but Complexity decided that obviously they saw something that kind of signaled a red flag, and whether they saw that Tremble Mound go down top or something like that, but they decided to switch it up themselves. So, so when I'm unsure, I mean, in the end, he should get some very good farm, theoretically, of course, in the situation. But, I mean, we already see right off the bat, Keizu, his mount has already been destroyed by Aluna, being played by Franzi, of course. Hammerstorm, ideally, is obviously getting free farm here up top. And that's going to be good news, of course, for Complexity. Then you have the bottom matchup, Magnus versus Keeper of the Forest. And actually, very curious, I mean, what do you make of this matchup down here, well, Magnus versus Keeper?
Vote's thinking is, right, for that reason, you get those last hits, if you level up that Volcanic Touch early, which he leveled it at level 1. Like, there's no point in leveling up your stun against a Keeper. You're not going to use it. You don't want to waste the mana. And once you get those levels up, it can do a lot of damage if you're laning against another melee hero. So that's their thinking. But I just don't know if it's going to be enough damage, and I don't know if you're going to be able to last hit really against the Keeper of the Forest when you get those levels up.
Yeah.
So we'll have to wait and see how Slicks plays this. In theory, it's quite effective against melee heroes, and once you start leveling up that Volcanic Touch, I mean, look at how much damage it does, and Keeper's kind of forced to run away, or forced to man up and try to get the last hit, but you can actually still get the Volcanic Touch off even if you don't get the last hit.
Yeah.
And so that's one of those things.
But at the same time, that's kind of a downside because, I mean, he's missed a couple of creep kills since I've been watching down here. Some free creep kills, it seems like. Again, we're being a little bit picky maybe in that sense. You talked about Beacon earlier missing his very first creep kill. But hey, it's these small things that can definitely add. I mean, on the middle lane, the blood, let's go. Yes, it's going to come out right there. Haxorn will fall. The keg's done initially, landed by Skyzo beautifully. And then Swindle Melons, of course, follows it up. So Wretched Hag going down. And just like that, not even 3 minutes into the game, we have our Bloodlust kill coming out in favor vote here, and especially going for, well, Swinnemelons, I guess he got the assist at the very least, and that means early boots most likely for Engineer, but Pebbles, he is off to a great start now, especially because of that here, so.
Yeah, that's a really good job. Like, initiating with the keg stun is probably the best way to do it. You don't normally see it because it is a skill shot, but when you can do it, you can just combo up so much more, so much more properly. Like, you get a couple auto attacks in before you can actually stun onto Pebbles. You can't do that normally if you initiate with a long-range Stalagmites, then walk up. Then you basically cast your toss because you don't want to miss out on comboing the other hero. So.
Now, I'm not going to lie. I mean, Slicks has missed quite a bit of creep kills down here at the bottom lane. It is a USC server. I just wanted to double-check that. But this actually goes back to what you brought up earlier, how, yes, Slicks, a great player, of course, and anyone would love to have this player. But we're talking about this is our worldwide team. I mean, one of the first times we've ever seen a situation like this where they have 2 European players, 2 US East players, and then an Australian. I mean, it completely throws it off as far as, you know, where do you conveniently play. Obviously, US East makes the most sense, but in fact, I'm going to do ping all real quickly. Slicks, I mean, he's playing with 325 MS. That's not friendly, man. I mean, that is not very likable. And I understand, you know, he's playing with great players, obviously, in Team Vote, but that's got to be frustrating for him. So
it's most frustrating during the laning phase. Like, when you're actually doing team fights, it's honestly not that bad. You still little tiny milliseconds in team fights, they obviously do make a difference, but they're a little bit more forgivable than actually in the laning phase and tiny little bits of micromanagement and trying to get those last hits. So this is where you see the ping come into play, I think, the most. Obviously, it does affect you throughout the rest of the game, like I said, but I mean, that's one of the things you think about when you build a team, honestly. And actually, Haxor gets gone on yet again. And this lane is just too brutal for this Wretched Hag. Not only is he not really getting any farm, actually he does have 5 last hits, but that's really nothing compared to the 27 on Pebbles. But this is just such a volatile lane for Wretched Hag, and he's got to play much further back in this lane.
Yeah, Haxorn is struggling here. Yeah, you mentioned 5 creep kills, but yeah, that's obviously really nothing. But more importantly, I think even really Pebbles, the farm that he's getting. I mean, he has Boots Bottle already at 5 minutes into the game. He has another 700 gold saved up, so he is well on his way to a fantastic start here. Now, the downside for Vote right now, obviously, is his top lane. I mean, Tremble, just like Wretched Hag, is, well, getting absolutely nothing. He only has 2 creep kills himself. And Aluna, being played by Franzi again, is just constantly harassing. Tempest pointing back to the top tower. He's continuing to farm. Tempest kind of been quiet as usual, but Chessie is sitting around 265 gold per minute. He does have his early ring of sorcery. And speaking of jungle, let's see how Z-Freak is doing. He currently is sitting on 2 minor totems, actually. He has 1,200 gold, though, saved up. So we'll see where he goes. And, in fact, may try to set up something here at the bottom lane, or may just go for a push, actually. Yeah, they're just going to push in this lane here, so we'll see how successful this is for Vote, as Keeper of the Force is going to be here to defend it, of course. Dust is picked up by Slicks, by the way, so if they want to maybe initiate and catch Keeper of the Force off guard, it could be very, very possible here.
Yeah, they could. This is a good push. On top of the creeps, you also have that Volcanic Touch, which is leveled up to level 2 on Slick, so getting this last hit is going to push it up even more. Keeper can try to do a little bit to maybe make some trees. I'm surprised he's not making trees right now and just kind of trying to defend him with extra minions. Maybe he just thinks that there's absolutely no way he can defend this, so I don't know why Moon hasn't made some minions. I really don't. But actually here, the Dust, there's a stun. You can have a combo up coming out from Engineer, and all those creeps doing lots of damage. Moonmanor gets taken out very easily. Strider's picked up, by the way, on Engineer to get there even quicker, and it's going to be a death on top of the tower. So Gary Johnson taking it to them early on, but actually they do now have a significant gold and a minor experience. And actually they do get a counter tower push in the top lane. I will say overall, you still have good CS like on basically 3 different heroes for complexity, being Hammerstorm, Tempest farming the jungle, and then Keeper. But after that death, it's going to set him back a considerable amount.
Yeah, a couple things I'm noticing right here. One, it was the Dust and the Water Revelation that was used on Keeper of the Force. So it was a little bit of overkill there, but they got the kill. That was the mattering point. They got the tower kill. Top lane was also pushed in favor of complexity, so a decent counter right there. But look at this. Alchemist Bones picked up very early on in Hammerstorm. I'm not exactly when he got it. I'm not exactly sure when he got it, but I want to say it was around 5 minutes, if not even before. So yeah, very, very quick Alchemist Bones. He has boots on top of that, and they are still pushing. This tower's going to fall. Will Tremble or Magnus be able to deny it, or at least defend it? Invulnerability, maybe, though. If there's the vulnerability, port's coming in. Magnus does it onto Aluna. Tempest with a stun himself, but the port in from Pebbles. Nice Stalagmites coming out, and Franze will fall when it's all said and done. Oh my god, he may actually get away as he puts the stun on himself. Lava Surge in 1 second. Nice maximum range right there from Slicks, and Slicks picks up the kill onto Aluna. So Franze doing a pretty good job of delaying it a long time, but in the end he falls. The tower was denied, but still, that brings up the point. We're only 7.5, 8 minutes into the game now. They've lost their secondary tower at the top lane already. So even though it was denied, that's still a pretty bad situation for them to be in.
Yeah, it's more of like I talked about the map control. And Magma's actually TPing bottom, but has very little mana, so I'm not exactly sure about that TP, but wants to try to delay this push as much as he can. I'm pretty sure Swindlemelon's TP top, so he's not going to be able to really do anything about this push that Keeper's going on the bottom tower. That's a lot of damage actually coming out on the defense tower, so hopefully Slicks can get the deny for his sake. The TP's coming out. No, he cannot. Moonmeander does have that invis. They do have a dust, but onto Slicks, and I thought maybe they could have comboed, but maybe they just felt like they didn't have enough damage, and they probably didn't, so... but yeah, Moonmeander getting a tower kill down there. Good job for him.
Yeah, that's and right now Complexity 1,200 gold lead. So obviously early on looking fairly good for them. Moonmeander is going to roam around here in the jungle. He's going to run into Ophelia, but Nature's Veil comes out, and he'll be more than fine. Obviously Swindlemelon is running over as well, but not able to collapse on top of him. But the good thing, it's kind of making a good thing out of a horrible situation, really. But Keizu now will be able to conveniently farm here at the top lane as a result of both the towers being pushed in so aggressively early on. So that is starting to recover for him a little bit. I mean, he's now sitting around 176 gold per minute. Obviously, still very, very low, but he is recovering somewhat, and that's some good news. And, you know, you make this point all the time. Keizu seems to love going the Mock of Brilliance route first here on Tremble. I gotta think it's going to be different this game. I mean, he's getting absolutely nothing early on. Do you still think it's a Mocker?
I don't know. I've been surprised before, but yeah, I just... It's one thing I think the item is just bad in general. It's another one I think it's still picked up in situations it shouldn't be. So, yeah, I don't know. There's absolutely no reason that he should buy it. He just needs to get tanky stuff, tanky items. And his job right now is just to slow and snare people in team fights. He's not going to be doing damage until maybe later stages in the game. But even then, we've seen Tremble actually in the meantime. Haxorin just gets demolished. This is not his game so far. Lots of stunning and aggression.
Well, to be fair, that was actually very well played by Swindlemelon. He landed the maximum range stalagmites, and then he chucked him back right into Ophelia's minions. The net came out from the Skeleton King, the Minotaur stun on top of that, and then they got the kill. So that was actually just a very good execution, actually. But yeah, Haxorin, he's now 0-3-0 here to start off this game. He cannot get anything going, as you put it. And that means Complexity, they're really relying on Hammerstorm here to be that ultimate carry for them, which, again, he definitely can be, especially going the Alchemist Bones first. I mean, he's going to be farming pretty crazy here early on. That on top of Steam Boots right now, another 500 gold saved up. And also Moonmeander is actually having a fairly good time himself. I mean, he's sitting at 346 gold per minute. And, well, there's even Tempest is up there. So, yeah, the GPM chart isn't horrible for either team right now. I mean, both actually are in a fairly decent spot. But, yeah, that Wretched Hag really is struggling here. And it is showing right now. But overall, actually, gold per minute on the Legion side is looking very good. Now that I think about it, I mean, Tremble is the last one on the team, and he's at 231 GPM, so...
Yeah, well, Engineer has just the same.
Yeah.
Like, Engineer has a lot of farm. He's 3-0-1. So these guys are having a good game right now. The Striders, the Major Totem, probably looking forward to that Tablet of Command, which is going to be fantastic for them. Getting people in and out of Tempest Ultimate, just getting them away from the stuns and whatnot. So, yeah, good pickups all around. And, you know, Slick's well on his way to his portal key as well. 1,500 gold saved up on top of those Ghost Marchers and upgraded power supply. So, yeah, it's going to be good.
Jesse, interesting here. He still doesn't even have boots, but he has 2,200 gold saved up. So I'm guessing he's going to go to the side shop right here and purchase that portal key. But that's a rush of a portal key, man. I mean, again, not even picking out the boots yet. Now back at the bottom lane, we do have some initiation coming out. Magma's going to take a counter stun himself. Keep the force being locked down. There's a dust going to be used, and they're going to go for a kill. Rook going to come out. The Kegstone will come out, and actually he might have dodged it if he kept the port going. He is going to be finished off. I mean, I can't blame him for moving right there, but it seemed like the Kegstone was going to be off, actually. And if he kept the TP going, he could have very likely ported out right there. So, kind of unfortunate, but...
I don't know if it was going to. I thought it was going to hit, too.
Yeah. So it seemed like it was just a little bit too far to the right and top, so...
I thought it was going to hit.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was close.
And also, when someone stuns you and you see an Engineer running at you ready to combo, like... It'd be pretty silly to not think that they're going to. So you immediately...
Of course.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't blame him for that.
Oh, no, that's it. I mean, again, it's a smart play in the end, but it's kind of funny how it was actually very close to maybe not hitting him. But they got a tower kill out of that, too. I mean, so they got to keep the forest dead. They got a tower kill. And that's a pretty good momentum swing, actually, coming out in favor of Vote there. I mean, it's 3,100 goldie now all of a sudden on top of a 1,200 experience lead, so...
Yeah, and if they play this right, they just shouldn't even spread out. Like, they should just keep staying together, taking towers now with their 2 freshly purchased portal keys on Magmas and Pebbles. And there's no reason to do anything else. Like, they know that they're stronger in team fights. Well, perhaps. I mean, we haven't really seen Tempest do anything just yet as far as using his ultimate or anything like that. And I will say that going for a straight portal key like that, it just seems silly to me because Actually, that Tremble's getting gone on right here, but just not going to get pursued. But yeah, I feel like you can farm faster with boots. And he's already got his portal key. Unless you make a play from getting your portal key to not having 500 gold, actually some action. Oh, stun missed right there by Slicks, unfortunately. But unless you make an action from getting your portal key to having 500 gold, there's no excuse to not getting boots beforehand.
Yeah.
So you see him farm up another 500 gold, so why not just buy the boots? They're actually going to make you farm faster because you're moving, from camp to camp a lot quicker. So I don't know, just a pet peeve of mine.
Yeah, and maybe it was for the idea of a comboing with Hammerstorm if he was going to get a quick PK and, as you said, kind of moving around together. But yeah, that just didn't happen. So it's a pretty odd choice there from Jesse, whether that was just a change up ultimately, on their team or whatever. But now, speaking of Hammerstorm, he is not going for that first on portal key. He's going to be picking up a Mighty Blade here and also finishing a power supply on top of that. So first item, Shrunken Head, more than likely going to be coming out for him. And it seems like, from what you've talked about lately, you like that decision not to go the early portal key. So
especially against a pushing team. Like, portal key against a pushing team is kind of silly. You don't really need it. They're all grouping up together. You're not going to really find a good opening, especially when they have heals on the team like Ophelia, who does have her Astrolabe. So just getting beefy and having them initiate on you and then maybe try to counter-initiate by just running in there with your brute strength. If you get an Elder Parasite after that, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, portal key would be kind of silly in my opinion, at least in this game.
Yeah, so going to be going the Shrunken Head routes here. They're going to push the middle lane a little bit, is the Hellborn team in the meantime, but no, they're going to fall back for now, as Franzi just sends in an illusion to kind of scout things out. But again, Haxford especially on that Wretched Hag, his farm very, very minimal right now. He's only sitting on Steam Boots and a Mystic Vestments and a Ring of the Teacher. But on the Legion side, speaking of a hero that was really struggling early on, Keizu on Tremble, look at his farm now. He's now up to 275 actually, and he goes the Helm of the Black Legion here. So yeah, I think it's safe to say both you and I are actually pretty happy to see that, especially with the circumstances. Just seems to make the most sense. So
absolutely,
very, very solid item choice here for Keizu coming out.
Yeah, that's exactly what he needs to go. And maybe on top of that, something like a Bulwark as a second item. I think that'd be fantastic. You could also see Bulwark onto Pebbles, though. So that's the one thing, is just communicate with your team. If he's going to go Bulwark, then don't get Bulwark, get something else. But I could also, now that I think about it, still see a Blink onto Hammerstorm. Maybe he'll go something like Mighty Blade into Blink, just wants the Mighty Blade pressure stats. But I can't imagine B-Kid not getting Blink, because now that I think about it, he always gets Blink on every hero. So yeah, now that I think about it a second time, we'll have to wait and see where he goes.
It really, yeah, but B-Kid, he's not normally the go-to carry, and again, I keep going back to especially the way that this game is going down right now. He is the go-to carry this game with the farm that he has as far as the start goes. So I don't know, maybe that's going to be the difference maker in terms of him not going that portal key next. But he has 1,300 gold saved up, so obviously we'll get an idea when he passes around 2150 if he is going to be going for that or not. Boots have now been picked up by Chessie, so at least he's got that going for him. But again, he's picked up that very early portal key. Really didn't use it at all, though, from what at least I saw. So kind of unfortunate there. Bottom lane, there's perhaps some initiation. Bat Blast coming out. Not the Bat Blast, but the HoN coming out. And Magnus will just Lava Surge away, however, and he will be more than fine. So seems like they might have been able to make something happen, but Keeper of the Forest decided to just farm instead and continue to raise that GPM, which moving under on Keeper, he is sitting around 338, and it is actually very, very solid. He currently has 1,500 gold saved up himself, but he's going to be jumped right here. Actually, Nature's Failures, very good timing, but out comes a Word of Revelation. He's chucked back to the team, dodges the keg set as a result, but I still think the damage is going to be enough. The turret is out, Tremble on top of that, and yes, Keeper of the Forest will fall. It's a little bit dangerous right there, but they got the kill, and they secure it. So Keeper of the Forest seems like maybe working towards that portal key. That's going to be delayed, though, a little bit here.
That was kind of funny. He got stunned, and then the keg stun came out to the combo, but then he tossed him away. The keg stun missed. Didn't matter in the end because the turret is so strong, and it's actually maxed by Sky, so he's maxing the turret before the keg, and I like that too. I think the turret is probably the biggest reason why I don't know why I always stumble on his name, but Engineer is picked up. That turret just slows so much. We do have an Invis Pebbles here, making his way up towards the top jungle.
Yeah, he's going to find some food right here. Will that be a Luna? Now he needs to be careful, obviously. There's a lot of Hellborn players nearby, but so maybe not. But no, he is going to open right there on a Tempest. He jumps with a portal key, gets the free kill. Meanwhile, Ophelia chasing down Wretched Hag. Can't you get a net on it, actually? Slicks jumps in with his own portal key. The kicks on top of that, and Wretched Hag will fall as well. Right now, the momentum is definitely all in the side of Vote here, it seems like. Now looking at a 4,200 gold lead as well as a 2,700 experience lead. And this is where, especially their lineup, the aggression is going to start picking up big time. In fact, Aluna trying to poured out right here. Looks like she'll be fine at the last second, but now a top tower push incoming. Tremble's leading the way. Here comes Magnus, Ophelia, and Pebbles, and even Engineer. He's striding on up there as well. 5-man push going to be happening here at the top lane.
Yeah, they just turned the aggression on. They have so much early game stun and like get you spells with the early portal keys on Pebbles and Magnus. Ophelia had a pretty good game. It's actually only level 9. I thought it should be like level 10 by now. But she has great creeps as well, which are also great creeps for Tempest, 2 Skeleton Kings.
Yeah.
And you also have the pet from Boris, so they have a lot of push now on top of all this early aggression with lots of stuns. So Bulwark is picked up, I think, on Tremble. I saw that. And yeah, just as I said, that's a great pickup for him. Shrunken Head is up on Hammerstorm, so they, like you mentioned, they really need a portal key on Moon before they can actually start engaging. Otherwise, they're just going to get steamrolled here. And Haxorn is just not going to find an opening. He has absolutely no farm right now, 0-4 and 0. And yeah, they need to get something done here.
Yeah, the aggression again. V0TE is definitely being the ones controlling the pace of this game right now, and it's clearly working out for them. With all the items that are being picked up. But you said the Shrunken Head finish on Hammerstorm, so maybe that's a signal for the Hellborn team to try to get something going, especially once they get that portal key on Keeper of the Forest. He also may hit level 11 as well, so that'll be a pretty decent timing right there, giving him an extra second on that route, of course, as a result of that. So, you know, when it comes to team fights, I mean, both teams definitely bring quite a bit to the table. You really mentioned the triple Skeleton King army. That's so deadly, especially against that Tempest. Even if he manages to get that Shrunken Head here in the near future, it's just like, well, you're not going to get it off, man. I mean, Z-Freak, he's showing time and time again that he can definitely stop those Tempest ultimates on a dime with these Skeleton Kings, especially with the way that he spreads them. I mean, you see right here, he's already spreading them out to make it impossible for Tempest to get all 3 of them. So, yeah, there's just no way that's going to happen. And, I mean, you could even argue, do you even go for a Shrunken Head for Tempest? Could you just go like Astrolabe or Tablet or just something else? I mean, this middle tower, though, hold that thought for a second, is going to be pushed in here. Hammerstorm jumping in, the stun going to come out, but no follow. Pebbles, so he said, screw it, I'm going to go in right there to the Keeper of the Forest. Keeper of the Forest, so he's going to take a lot of the damage. Energy field used in the background. Hammerstorm charging in. He takes a double, root coming out, the bad blast on top, the eruption, though, in the background from Slick right there. And it looks like right now Gary Johnson's in a pretty good spot. Keeper of the Forest being locked down, but the Tempest ultimate not stopped just yet. The Tempest ultimate doing so much work right there. Full duration. Hammerstorm's now tearing up the Legion team, and both Tremble and Ophelia trying to run away. Galvanize going to be used right there by Hammerstorm. Will give them some more chase potential. Ophelia's picked up at the power throw, and actually the Legion team will retreat in the end. The illusion for Tremble, he falls down, and Complexity holds it off right there. They didn't even lose a single person.
Wow. I was actually kind of scared because Beacon kept running back and forth between that energy field from Engineer's ult, and I was like, what are you doing? Just pop your Shrunken Head and run around. But I gotta say, first of all, that was just not a good initiation by Swindlemelons. Like, jumping in on the Keeper of the Forest when their team is relatively far behind, that was a bad initiation. He shouldn't have done that. But on top of that, you were just talking about, you know, Z-Freak is so good with those Skeleton Kings, but got like, you know, waited about 3 to 3.5 seconds before he actually did it, and the damage was already done, so was not on point that time. And Complexity cleans up in that team fight in a huge fashion. They're trying to they're tempting Kongor right now, but Team V0TE knows that something is up, and they're not going to. That could be bad because they took Kongor pretty low, and if Team V0TE actually walks in there and scouts it out, they might actually snatch it.
Bound Eye here on Tremble, so they use that to counterward actually. And yeah, exactly. I mean, you see right here, they're going to start doing Kongor a little bit themselves now. So, and they know both the Tempest Ultimate and even the Root is still on cooldown here for another 15 seconds. So this is an odd spot for Complexity now. Yeah, the Wretched Hag ultimate. So everything is really down for the Hellborn team, and that's what makes them the great team fight potential that they have. So yeah, V0TE making a very smart decision here to kind of go in for Kongor. Magma's going to stun, and actually Hammer's in a lot of trouble. Can he get the Shrunken Head off at least? The kick on top of that. There's the follower from Pebbles, and Beacon will fall right there. So he gets caught out in the uphill, and the Legion team still going to chase Thunder Scream used by Wretched Hag, but she'll probably blink away in the end. Unfortunately, Aluna doesn't have a blink, and she'll be left behind to fight for herself. And now they're going to go back to Kongor and most likely finish it off right here. So it was a great fight for Complexity, but it seems like this may end up better for V0TE in the end. They're going to initiate back on Wretched Hag. Beacon dead by back, but will it matter? The Root comes out right there again. No Tempest ultimate though. Wretched Hag trying to run away. Will she even blink away? No, she will not. The Legion team still, everyone is up. Energy field use in the background. Engineer will now try to pour it out, and he will be successful actually, as Ophelia is still chasing by herself, so Z-Freak in a very odd spot. And Z-Freak will fall. Chessie picks up the double tap actually, as a result of that. Swindlemelons did buy back, by the way. The eruption jump in from Slicks does absolutely nothing right there, as it was a great portal queue reaction by Tempest, I believe. So it seemed like V0TE could have just played it solid and maybe gone back, but I guess with the Beacon buyback, that kind of complicated things a little bit more.
Yeah.
I don't know. That fight ended pretty interesting, actually.
Oh, it was in favor of complexity.
Yeah.
But you did use a buyout onto B-Kid, but of course someone else did buyout himself. So I do like what B-Kid's doing, though. I used to hate this. Like, I used to hate it, but now that I think about it more and more, I do like leveling up the Mighty Swing, because not only does it help you farm, but it actually helps you in team fights, too.
Oh, yeah.
With heroes being close together and just being able to clear stuff in that team fight. Clear all the heroes or minions or what have you with your brute strength, and it's quite easy to do so. And he has faster attack speed now because of the Alchemist Bones. And, yeah, I mean, the team fight is definitely there with Wretched Hag, Bat Blast, Keeper Ultimate, Tempest Ultimate, Hammerstorm as their hard carry, which is a great hard carry, by the way. And, yeah, so Team V0TE, they had a fantastic early game, but kind of tapering off here with some interesting decisions, but also good play by complexity.
Yeah, it definitely is a mix. I mean, you see right here the Hellborn team once again. Tempest Ultimate is back up, by the way, so this could really be a fun fight. I mean, it feels like we're 50 minutes into the game right now with what's going on. I mean, we're at a stalemate at Kongor, yet we're only not even 24 minutes into the game. So very interesting timing here as far as this taking place. But both teams, obviously they don't want to let one or the other get Kongor, so they're going to kind of hang out for now and see about making something happen as far as at least stopping it. But SG or V0TE, they're the ones that kind of have the advantage in that sense, as they got this downhill position. But, well, complexity, of course, has the uphill, and again, they have some great jump potential. And especially with that Tempest Ultimate, it's a very risky thing to do here now for V0TE. So they're still hanging around the area, but they are not going to commit to anything just yet. So neither team really getting much out of the situation right now, other than kind of just delaying one or the other. You see the middle lane going to be cleaned up a little bit by Pebbles and Engineer right there while they wait. But, yeah, I mean, this is just very interesting to me, especially at this point in the game, that we're already coming to a stalemate position like this. So.
Yeah. Well, Complexity does have that ward there. I think that's going to be the saving grace for them. So they can see everything that's going on. And, yeah, they're just kind of, you know, nicking at it. They know every single time that Tremble walks in there, when they don't see Complexity push out mid or go to a lane or something, they know that they're just waiting to pounce on them. Like they're ready to initiate. So it's very scary. Well, for both teams really, but with Blinks up on actually Keeper didn't go for a Blink, he went for the Astrolabe, so he doesn't have an initiation, but I found that kind of interesting. But the Astrolabe is fantastic. They still need that heal. So that's good that he has it. But once he does get that Blink, their team fight is going to go through the roof.
Oh yeah. Well, in the end, V0TE decides it's best. They're kind of just wasting some time there. They said to fall back, especially Keizu, and he goes all the way to the bottom lane, and he's going to farm down there. Now, obviously, remember, especially with Tremble, he can just port into one of these mounts very easily. So if a fight does happen, that he'll be ready to go. But meanwhile, at the top, there was actually a pretty good creep wave push coming in from V0TE as well. So Haxorn is up here. He's cleaning it up, and again, Haxorn had a horrible start. I believe he was 0-4-0 at a point. He had a horrible start to this game, but now he's farming 240 gold per minute. He's got some decent items, but look back at Kongor. Kongor still plenty of life, though, about 3,000 life, and actually Keizu will fall back once again. The tree minion spotting it out. So it seems like V0TE really trying to be sneaky with this. It's just not going to happen, though. I mean, with this Ward of Sight in here, well, 2 Ward of Sights nearby, then I look at it. The tree dog's constantly going. It's just not going to happen. So if you're not going to go for the stand in there and get the actual Kongor kill, it just seems kind of silly to even waste the time at this point for V0TE. We're going to have a vote to pause here. Speaking of V0TE coming out, but
vote to pause, but not by V0TE.
Haxorn's looking nice, though. Yeah, by complexity. Haxorn, I mean, he's got a Mighty Blade on top of his first Arcana now, so looking pretty good. Actually, okay, so while we're in this pause here, I was bringing up the point, and, you know, I think it's safe to say it still makes sense to get the Shrunken Head in the end, but could you debate if you're Tempest here not going for the Shrunken Head because of what we talked about with all the Skeleton Kings?
I still think no. I still think you still have to get that Shrunken Head. In the event that you don't have Skeleton Kings, like, if you kill Ophelia, pick him off beforehand, and then you know, you destroy his creeps or kill his creeps or whatever.
Yeah.
It's still always going to be effective pickup. Like, not just for the being able to have that channeled ultimate and have magic immunity, but just in general, like walking in there, getting some stuns, getting some auto attacks, and not having to fear the Pebbles combo, the Engineer ult, the Magmus combo. So it's still a very, very effective item, even though you can have those Skeleton Kings counter it. So
yeah. And you know, I love what you're addressing too, and I've always been a huge advocate of this. The Mighty Swing ability, and I think you're so right that it seems like a lot of people just they think of it more as a farming tool than an actual useful tool in team fights. But I've always been on the impression, you know, same thing with like a Rune Cleaver on Swiftblade. you know, the impression that it's actually, when you think about it, in those team fights, again, especially with certain synergies like they have here on the Hellborn side with your Keeper, with your Tempest especially, that cleave can be pretty massive for certain heroes. Well, Hammerstorm's definitely one of those. I mean, he really, with that brute strength activated, when if they get a solid Tempest ultimate off, which is very possible, as we saw in the last fight, he will just be wrecking this Legion team, you know, especially if he keeps a farm up like he is right now, sitting at 385 gold per minute, pretty comfortably in the lead here as far as overall in this game. So yeah, good news there. There is the Shrunken Head finish coming out from Chessie, playing that Tempest, so they do have that to work with now. Just taking a quick look at more items here. Ophelia here on the Legion team, actually. She has her Astrolabe, a Shaman's Headdress, Plate of Greaves. So she should have her Barrier Idol here shortly here for the Legion team. And maybe they want to wait for that to make something happen. But again, they're going to kind of go in Kongor here, and it looks like they're doing a little bit more of a commitment. I mean, they got Engineer in here. Magnus even stunts in, so yes, they are. Again, this Ward of Sight spotting everything. We could have a big fight brewing here at the Kongor pit. Case, you're going to stand his ground for now. Nope, going to start falling back. In the meantime, the Pebbles Illusion up here. This guy thinks that's actually blocking the Tree Dogs, which is kind of funny. But again, they're just going to retreat now. A Boris coming in right here, but Keeper of the Forest currently invis. Or I guess not even invis, but just a little bit too far back. Will not be jumped, so...
Every single time they walk into Kongor and then fake it and walk away, they're losing out in experience.
Exactly, yeah.
It's minor, but by the time... I mean, nothing has really happened since they first started kind of do-si-doing around Kongor, except a 1,500 experience lead for complexity. I mean, like I said, it's not huge, but it does make a difference. And when you're up against a team that does definitely have the better late game, being complexity, you can't afford that at this stage of the game. When you have those early PKs onto Pebbles, Magnus, and whatnot, you want to use those. You want to group up. You want to fight. And this is just giving Complexity more time to get core items like that Shrunken Head onto Tempest. And like, you know, we mentioned, it's maybe not the most effective thing against an Ophelia that has those Skeleton Kings. And does he have the Skeleton Kings? Let me check. I see one right here. Is that the only creep he has?
I think it's the only one here right now. I mean,
he just wants to make sure he's got that perfect micro for that one Skeleton King. Not going to bother getting more than that. But yeah, so he still has a great item. And actually, Hammerstorm picks up his portal key. So, of course, like I mentioned, he did go the Shrunken Head route completely first. But Beacon, being Beacon, he has to have that portal key.
Yeah. And
in HoN, where it's very fast-paced and it's a lot of burst damage, portal key is the best item for that. So
yeah. Yeah, and that'll give him that gotcha potential, the great follow-up for his teammate. I mean, you did mention Keeper of the Forest chose not to go a portal key route. It's a little bit interesting. I mean, it looks like he is going to be building up that Barrier Idol here. So it's a case of they already have a Tempest, and now with the Hammerstorm on top of that, maybe just feeling it not even necessary. That he needs one as well. I'd just rather go for more team support items. And again, could still eventually pick it up, of course, but at least prioritizing that Barrier Idol finisher. But again, here we go. They're going to try Kongor. The Phronsie Ward of Sight is still there. In fact, there's a new one that was placed to kind of refresh it. So the Power Throw comes out. It just doesn't make sense to me what Vote is doing here. They're wasting so much time, and you put it so well there that the experience lead has grown for the last 5 or 6 minutes while they've just been doing that. It just makes absolutely no sense. They're just completely wasting time here. And as I went back to, if you're going to go for Kongor, you need to full-on commit here to a Kongor kill. And I don't even think that's necessarily the best idea. So it just seems kind of silly being here in the first place. But once the Tremble kind of going in right there, putting in some auto attacks and quickly falling back. I mean, Complexity is going to start heading over, but...
The thinking is keep pushing out top lane, forcing the TP, but they're just simply not forcing anything. You have Francie's doing a good job of actually clearing out that top wave when he can with that global power throw. And they're just really, like you mentioned, they're just not really getting anything done. I think maybe even kind of like pushing out bottom and trying to get a flank on one of the heroes or something. But yeah, what they're doing right now is just simply not working. And what Moonmeander is doing as far as item goes is he's building up, I think, to more be that hero to get gone on. Like he's trying to bait himself with being a very tanky keeper. And he thinks, all right, you go on me, I'll stand on the front lines, you waste all your spells on me. If you don't even kill me, if I manage to actually get my root off, you are going to get screwed because you've already wasted all your spells. My team will support me.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best route here.
Yeah, that actually does make sense. And of course, as we always refer to, I mean, Keep It the Forest, it's not the hardest ultimate in the game to land by any means. I mean, it really is kind of a full screen ultimate where you just kind of run in there, you press R, and everyone's locked down as a result of it. So, yeah, you know, not going the portal queue route can definitely make sense. So, again, Kongor being kind of hit on by it just what is this accomplishing?
What
right
they
here?
need to do is okay. Clearly,
silly.
they have vision here. Like
Yeah,
you need to get rid of that.
Oh, actually, hold on, thought for a second. Hammerstorm jumping in. The stun is going to land on a Tremble, but the follow-up probably won't be enough. Galvanize going to be activated, but the Legion team kind of retreating right there, and so will Complexity. So
they haven't scouted for this ward at all.
Yeah.
Like that's the one thing. It should seem obvious right now that every single time you walk in there, that they have an idea. Even when they've been farming top to try to push out the lane with Hag or what have you, they've known. So you need to counter that ward first before you think about trying to take Kongor.
Well, Keeper of the Force, by the way, he does have a bound eye, and he's going to kind of walk around right here. And actually, Complexity, they may be the ones now to kind of dozy in here on the Kongor pit and maybe attempt something. I mean, they kill the mound right there that was placed, and the Tree Dog's going to tank Kongor a little bit. But now a level 16 Hammerstorm, by the way. He just hit that mark. He's 2 levels higher than anyone else in this game right now. The next size being Slicks there on the Magnus, actually, for the Legion side. So, and again, that kind of shows you how the experience is kind of working more and more in favor of the Hellborn team as this kind of as the standoff goes on here. But yeah, having that level 3 brute strength now, I mean, he's already putting out 149 max damage. He activates brute strength. In fact, he's going to jump in right here. The stun, it is going to stun Magnus. In the meantime, the Swindlemouse will counter on top of Luna. Won't even get the kill though. And here comes a Shrunken at Hammerstorm. Swindlemouse dropping quickly. The Eruption Gunner for 6 in the background, doing a decent amount of damage. But the Tempest ultimate coming out, bowling at the Legion team, and right there, Complexity will absolutely evaporate right on top of Vote. Tremble is just running away. Here comes a bat, or the HoN coming out from Hag. The Tree Dog minions being spawned. A great block from Mumiender right there. The portal key in from B-Kid, and he'll help finish off Tremble. They're going to push the tower. B-Kid with the hat trick, and Complexity just absolutely destroying that team fight.
Absolutely. I think what Slicks needs to do is not ult like that. I think he needs to primarily focus his time on just getting his stun off on the heroes that are trying to combo up and follow up, and then walk back, and then maybe think about trying to ultimate, because that ult didn't really do anything. Now, Aluna was the only one that died, but it was the Pebbles that went on him. And I think Pebbles needs to prioritize his targets a little bit better, something on like a Wretched Hag, or even the Tempest. That being said, also, the spread coming out from the Legion team was not there. You got Tempest that had a fantastic ultimate. It was not canceled. It could have been by the Skeleton King, which I think was right next to Z-Freak's hero. So not microing that properly, unfortunately. But yeah, big plays by the entire team, really. I mean, Hammerstorm is just going to get that much more scary as it approaches late game. He's got another 3,600 gold saved up. The Token of Life is actually onto Wretched Hag.
Yep.
They're tired of him dying. And he almost has his own Hellflower or his Shrunken Head. He could buy a Shrunken Head right now, but nope, wants to get that Hellflower.
Yeah. Yeah, I found that a little bit. I thought for sure it was actually going to Hammerstorm, but they put it on Hag, and again, I don't think it's the biggest deal in the world. Speaking of Hammerstorm, though, he's actually in a little bit of trouble down here at the bottom lane. He goes to the shop, he buys a TP, though, activates the Shrunken Head, and he will be fine in the end. So, B-Kid living life on the edge right there. He was pushed up pretty far, but Tremble not able to do nearly enough himself, and B-Kid going to be fine. And as you put it, I mean, 3,600 gold now saved up on Hammerstorm. All right, so what would you like to see now on Hammerstorm? More of this carry style. Do we go Elder Parasite at this point? Do you go Rift Shards? I mean, where do you go from here?
Rift Shards are fantastic on him. I love Rift Shards. He's going to go Demonic, so Demonic's also fantastic. But after Demonic, or maybe even just after Soul's Bulwark, but no, you want the attack speed, so Demonic is great. Demonic, and then maybe Rift Shards. Demonic's kind of like a placeholder for Elder Parasite. Like, if you're not going to get Elder Parasite, you might as well get the beefier item in Demonic if you're looking towards that late game, which Complexity always is.
Sure.
So, Demonic's fine. Love it.
All right, yeah, another 2,000 gold saved up after purchasing that Soul's Bulwark. So again, he's farming very well this game, has continued to do so. 432 gold per minute. The early Alchemist bones obviously can help for that. And yeah, getting the Kongor kill on top, I just really, that adds so much insult to the injury there. The fact that Vote spent so long, it had to be 6-7 minutes, something like that, just sitting at the Kongor pit here in this mid-game stage and hoping to eventually get it, and then they lose the fight, and then on top of that they lose the Kongor. It really just has to take a lot out of them, and the momentum, no doubt, in favor of Complexity here. I mean, it shows in the stats and everything else. 11,000 experience lead, 5,000 gold lead. But no, with that said, for Vote, obviously they still have plenty of chances themselves for sure, but that window you got to think is maybe closing here. I mean, speaking of more item pickups, you got Tremble. He went the Soul's Bulwark, and I believe he's going to be working on a Shrunken Head now himself. In fact, it is on the courier. It's kind of just sitting here in the base, though. I'm not sure if that's intended or not, but he will be getting that Shrunken Head delivered. So him, Magnus, and Pebbles actually will all have Shrunken Heads here for Vote, and obviously good items for them to have. But it just seems like the team fight's just a little bit stronger, and the overall damage output as well is just a little bit better here right now on Complexity's side, and they're going to group up and make a push now. Of course, very smart. They got a Wretched Act with that token of life, so why the hell not?
I understand the Shrunken Head onto Pebbles, but I don't understand it onto Magmus at all. Like, Magmus has a number of different ways to get away, to disjoint, and Magmus is like, you're basically jumping in there to stun, you run away, and then you stun and ulti right after that. But you don't need a Shrunken Head, in my opinion, for a Magmus. Like, it just, if you die, you've probably already done your job anyway. So I would have gone something more like a CC item, like a Health Flower or a Sheepstick.
Yeah.
Something like of that nature. You're going to need one, especially against this Hammerstorm who has a Shrunken Head. There's no way to lock him down and keep him at bay.
Oh, here we go. No, the dodge right there from Beacon. The Stalagmite's completely missing in the pack on there. The Eruptor going off. Luna may fall, but look at Hammerstorm now putting out the damage. Engineer going down in the meantime. The Tempest ultimate not going to be used yet. Where's the Tempest? There's the Tempest ultimate. Pebbles locked down. Ophelia walked right into it. She's going to fall as well. And the Hellborn team once again will just clean up. Tremble trying to run away with that Shrunken and activated. Where's off right there? The Bat Blast coming out. That wasn't even used that whole fight. And down he goes. We do have a buyback coming out for him. Oh no, that's just him being alive still. But the GG well plays are being called. V0TE has had enough here in game number 1, and Complexity will be taking the first game. Man, V0TE has every reason to be pretty frustrated because they had their advantages there in that game. But Complexity once again persevered and once again comes out victorious.
Big throws. That last ultimate, as you mentioned, they almost basically were like, oh, you're trying to ultimate Tempest? You have your Shrunken Head activated? Here, let us help you and clump up just a little bit. And that was kind of ridiculous. I think at that point they were just so frustrated. I don't know. But, yeah, I don't know. They had, like you mentioned, they had every right to win that game. They were completely in the lead, had just everything going for them. Early portal keys on both Magmus and Pebbles. Ophelia had a great early game. Kesu didn't really get much, but actually, to be honest, recovered very nicely. And Engineer had a fantastic early game themselves. And this isn't a team that's, I mean, obviously Complexity has a late game on paper, but that's not to say, you know, V0TE, their lineup couldn't take it to the late game. Tremble was okay late game. Magmus is always great at any stage of the game. Pebbles is actually pretty damn good late game with full items as well, so they just got outplayed.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, in the end, Complexity, they really just were the better team there in game number 1 when you look at how that game played out. And another big thing to note there in that last team fight especially was the fact that, as silly as it was, as they kind of even gave up, as you put it, it seemed like, as with them just running them and clumping up. But there was no Skeleton Kings for Ophelia there. He had 2 Vagabond leaders and a Minotaur, I think. So they had no way of stopping the Tempest Ultimate, even if he did, which eventually got it off, of course. So, but at that point, again, Complexity had just played it so well. It was fun to watch, and, well, Complexity, they are victorious. So that is going to do it for the first game, but of course a best out of 3 series, ladies and gentlemen. This is the losers bracket finals here from the Diamond Division. We have game number 2 going to be coming at you. V0TE taking on Complexity. Stay tuned, guys. We'll be right back.